You've probably been told your whole life that there are rules you have to follow. Rules about how to dress. Rules about what kind of career is respectable. Rules about how you should speak, behave, and even dream. From the very beginning, society whispers in your ear, be careful. Don't stand out. Don't rock the boat. Teachers, parents, neighbors, even strangers, they all hand you this invisible instruction manual, as if life came with a set of commandments carved into stone. But here's the shocking truth. Life itself has no rules. None. There is no cosmic referee blowing a whistle every time you step out of line. There is no giant scoreboard in the sky keeping track of whether you did things the proper way. The rules you think exist, they were invented by people. And those people were not perfect, not divine, not chosen. They were just people, no smarter and no stronger than you. Think about that for a moment. Every rule about success, about happiness, about what's possible or impossible, it's just someone else's opinion, written down and repeated so many times that we all started to believe it was real. But it's not. When you were a kid, you didn't care about rules. You wanted to fly, to paint on the walls, to stay up past midnight, to ask endless questions. Back then, you lived with curiosity, not caution. Nobody told you there was a correct way to imagine. But as you grew older, those invisible chains started to tighten. You were told, don't do this, don't say that, don't even try, because you might fail. Yet the only true failure is letting those imaginary rules control you. Life is not a prison with bars. It's an open field. And the sooner you realize that, the freer you become. When you were a child, you believed that anything was possible. You wanted to climb trees, build castles, invent crazy machines, and become an astronaut, a magician, or maybe all of them at once. You lived in a world without boundaries, where every day was a new adventure. Nobody told you that you had to choose just one dream. Nobody said you were too young, too unrealistic, or too ambitious. In your heart, you knew the world was wide open. But then, slowly, something changed. The world around you began to hand you invisible chains. At first, they looked harmless, just small warnings. Don't climb too high, you'll fall. Don't talk too much, people will laugh. Don't draw outside the lines, it looks messy. Little by little, those whispers grew louder. Society started speaking through teachers, relatives, television, even your friends. Don't be different. Don't question the system. Don't even dream too big, because you'll only be disappointed. And so, many people begin to shrink themselves to fit inside a box that was never meant for them. Think about it. How many times have you wanted to try something bold, but stopped because of fear? Fear of failing, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. But here's the truth. Those fears were planted in you by a culture obsessed with control. The rules you think you must obey are not laws of nature. They are habits of society. The tragedy is not failure. The tragedy is never trying, simply because you believed in rules that never existed. The only real limits are the ones you accept. You are still that child who believed everything was possible. The question is, will you let the chains define you, or will you break them and take back your freedom? Think about it carefully. Who decided what normal life should look like? Who decided that the right path is school, then college, then a job you may not love, a mortgage that chains you down for decades, and a retirement that comes when your best years are already behind you? Did the universe design that system? Did nature write that in stone? No. These so-called rules were created by people. People sitting in offices, people chasing stability, people trying to define success in the narrowest possible way. But here's the secret. The universe itself doesn't care about any of that. The stars don't care about your 9 to 5. The oceans don't care about your resume. The mountains don't care whether you got a diploma or not. Flying machine in a dusty field while the rest of the world laughed. Today, every plane in the sky is proof that they were right to ignore the rules. Think of Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, building Apple in a garage. At the time, serious companies worked in labs and skyscrapers. Two kids with a crazy idea weren't supposed to compete. And yet, by refusing to play the game by old rules, they changed technology forever. Or look at artists. Van Gogh, who was dismissed in his lifetime, now hangs in the greatest museums. Writers like J.K. Rowling, rejected over and over, who turned failure into a billion-dollar story. Athletes like Muhammad Ali, told he was arrogant, too loud, too different, yet his defiance made him a legend. The pattern is always the same. The world says, You can't. They reply, watch me. And here's the point. They weren't chosen by destiny. They weren't superhuman. They were ordinary people who simply decided that society's rulebook wasn't written for them. They gave themselves permission to try. So why not you? Why not today? Why not ignore the voices saying you're too young, too old, too inexperienced? The rules were never real to begin with. And the moment you stop believing in them, you unlock the same power that every world changer discovered, the freedom to create your own path. So why do we keep living inside cages that don't even exist? Why do we obey rules that no one can clearly explain? It's almost funny if you think about it. We build these walls in our minds, decorate them, and then complain that life feels too small. But the walls were never real. They were made of opinions, traditions, and fears passed down like hammer-down clothes that don't even fit you. Most of us are waiting for a green light. We are waiting for the teacher to say good job, for the boss to say you're ready, for society to say now it's your turn. But here's the harsh truth, that green light may never come. If you sit around waiting for permission, you'll be waiting forever. Life doesn't hand you an invitation to live boldly. It dares you to step forward without one. Think about it. Every single day, people put their dreams on hold because they're waiting. Waiting for the right time, the right partner, the right savings, the right opportunity. But perfection is a myth. There will always be risk. There will always be uncertainty. If you keep waiting, life will pass you by, and all you'll be left with is regret. Ask yourself, what's scarier, trying and failing, or never trying at all? Failure stings for a moment, but regret can haunt you forever. That's why the most powerful decision you can make is to stop waiting. Stop asking for approval. Stop pretending the rules are real. You don't need a green light. You don't need permission. You are the driver, and the road is wide open. If you want to live fully, you have to smash those imaginary rules today. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Today. Now, when I say break the rules, I don't mean chaos. I don't mean hurting others or living without values. What I mean is refusing to shrink yourself just to fit into someone else's box. Because that box, it was never built for you in the first place. It was built to make you predictable, to make you easier to label, easier to control. But you are not here to be predictable. You are here to be alive. So let me ask you, what do you really want? Not what your parents want, not what your boss wants, not what society applauds. You. What sets your soul on fire? What dream keeps whispering to you at night, even after years of silence? Maybe you want to travel the world instead of sitting in an office cubicle. Do it. Maybe you want to start a business, even though people laugh and say it's impossible. Try it. Maybe you want to reinvent yourself completely at 30, 40, or even 60. Why not? Who decided there's an expiration date on passion? The truth is, people will always have opinions. They'll tell you you're reckless, irresponsible, unrealistic. But remember this, those voices are not living your life. They don't wake up in your skin. They don't carry your dreams. Only you do. And at the end of the day, it's your heart that will feel either the joy of freedom or the weight of regret. Breaking the rules doesn't mean rejecting responsibility. It means accepting responsibility for your own happiness. It means saying, my life, my path, my rules. So stop apologizing for wanting more. Stop explaining your dreams. Stop asking for permission to be yourself. The only person who can unlock your freedom is you. Fear will always try to convince you to stay small. Society will always try to convince you to stay predictable. It whispers, don't take risks, don't dream too loud, don't step too far from a crowd. But here's the secret. Freedom begins the very moment you realize the rules were never real. There is no referee in the sky keeping track of your mistakes. There is no cosmic policeman who punishes you for stepping out of line. The universe is not against you, it's neutral. And because it's neutral, you are free to shape your life however you choose. Think about play. When children play, there are no rules unless they invent them. They can turn a cardboard box into a spaceship, a stick into a sword, a backyard into an entire kingdom. That's what life truly is, one giant playground. But somewhere along the way, we forgot how to play. We traded imagination for instructions and passion for permission. What if you took it back? What if you stopped following the script and started treating life like play again? Imagine the creativity you would unleash. Imagine the adventures you would discover. Imagine the joy of waking up and realizing, I don't have to live by anyone else's definition of success. The truth is, the people who live the most fully aren't the ones who play it safe. They are the ones who let curiosity lead them. They are the ones who say yes to opportunities even when they're scared. They are the ones who create their own games instead of waiting to be invited into someone else's. Life is your playground. And the most important rule of play is simple. There are no rules. Imagine yourself many years from now, looking back on the life you lived. Picture that moment clearly. Will you be proud that you followed the rules? Will you smile knowing that you always stayed in line, always did what was expected, always kept yourself safe? Or will a quiet regret creep in, whispering, I never really lived. I never tested my limits. I never found out what I was truly capable of. Nobody remembers the rule followers. Nobody builds statues for people who stayed quiet and safe. History remembers the ones who dared to be different, the explorers who crossed oceans without maps, the scientists who questioned the impossible, the artists who painted against every trend, the leaders who refused to bow down to tradition. They all left marks on the world precisely because they broke away from a script. And here's the truth, you don't have to change the whole world to live fully. You just have to change your world. The courage to pursue your dream, no matter how small or how strange it seems to others, is enough to transform your entire existence. Ask yourself this, when your story is told, whether it's to your children, your friends, or just in your own memories, what do you want it to sound like? Do you want it to be a safe, predictable tale that could belong to anyone? Or do you want it to be uniquely yours, full of risks, full of color, full of moments that made your heart race? The choice is yours. Right now, you can keep obeying rules that were never real, or you can step into the unknown and create a story worth remembering. So here's the challenge. Stop asking, am I allowed to do this? And start asking, do I want to do this? Does this make me feel alive? Because that's the real compass of life. Not rules, not expectations, not tradition. Just this simple question, does it make me feel alive? Think about how often we kill our own desires before they even take their first breath. We say things like, I can't start a business, I don't have enough experience. Or I can't travel, I don't have the time. Or I can't switch careers, people will think I'm crazy. Notice the pattern. It's always I can't. But who told you that? Who wrote those words into your story? Most of the time, it wasn't you. It was the voices of other people echoing in your head. The truth is, you are the only author of your life. And every time you ask for permission, you hand over the pen. You let someone else write your story, decide your choices, define your ending. Why would you give away that power? Break the rules. Build your own map. Rewrite the script. Because no one else has to walk in your shoes. No one else has to live with your regrets. And no one else gets to feel the joy that comes when you finally say, I'm doing this because it matters to me, not because it makes sense to others. Yes, people might call you reckless. Yes, they might laugh, criticize, or doubt. But so what? Every bold step forward looks reckless until it becomes history. And history is never written by the ones who stayed safe. It's written by the ones who dared. At the end of the day, there are no rules except the ones you choose to follow. Life does not hand out instruction manuals, and it certainly does not check whether you are playing by the rules. The greatest freedom is realizing that you were free all along. So here's what it comes down to. Your life, your choices, your path. No one else can live it for you. No one else can make the leaps, take the risks, or feel the exhilaration that comes from stepping into the unknown. You are the only one who gets to decide how bold your story will be. Imagine the life you could lead if you gave yourself permission to truly follow your passions. Imagine waking up every day with energy, with curiosity, with excitement. Imagine pursuing projects that thrill you, exploring ideas that challenge you, and meeting people who inspire you, all without apologizing for it. That life is possible. It's not a dream. It's not a fantasy. It's waiting for you to claim it. And yes, it will be hard at times. You will face fear, doubt, and resistance, both from others and from your own mind. But remember this, the people who changed the world, who left legacies, who truly lived, they all faced the same challenges. They all felt fear. They all were uncertain. The difference is they chose to move forward anyway. So today, make a decision. Stop following rules that were never meant for you. Stop shrinking yourself to fit expectations that were never yours. Step into your life fully, boldly, and without hesitation. Dream big. Take risks. Break barriers. And above all, live in a way that, years from now, you will look back and say, I lived. I dared. I was free. Because at the end of the day, the only rule that matters is this: your life belongs to you. Always has, always will.